Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon. So today we're going to be reviewing a couple lane matchups into Lux. We're playing against a Lux one trick, and generally I want to show you guys how I go about learning a matchup that I don't know super well. That's a bit more of a difficult matchup, like Lux into Orianna. Very hard for Orianna because Lux outranges Orianna and has better burst damage in the lane. And the spells even of Lux are a lot easier to land than Orianna first ability. And so for all those reasons, I want to show you guys sort of watching a couple of my games where I do lose the lane, and then how we're going to kind of go about just trying to determine the best way to approach this lane in the future, you know, just kind of going through it. I haven't really gone through these games yet, so we'll kind of see what we, find here. But this is really the process I'll go through anytime that I kind of struggle in a lane matchup. So again, my initial idea as well, I want to typically try to make a plan beforehand so that I can sort of see what went wrong. And so my initial thought process was I was getting pressured really hard early because she has better range and better like kind of upfront damage on me, so I don't really have any advantage. So basically I have kind of two approaches I could have to the lane. I could either try to really hard force level 2 and then trade around level 2, or I could just let her push and pretty much just play for last hitting and play really safe. Now when it comes to playing for the level 2, the problem is I'll get hit by her electrocute and her trade in her combo, and I'll probably lose the trade really hard. Whereas if I just play really safe and really, passive, I feel like I can at least do something. But we'll kind of just go through and see, specifically what actually goes wrong. And so here initially I'm hitting the wave, we can kind of see already. And because I'm already hitting the wave, I have the initial minion like lower, but that means that she can pressure me. And so the major mistake I made here already just from watching it is I threw my first ability before she had to walk up for any reason, so I missed it. Because she didn't have to walk up for a minion, and I didn't have to walk up for a minion, so she wasn't trying to pressure me. So there was no real reason for me to think that I'm going to easily land this first ability here. And because I did that, I miss, which lets Lux, you can see, walk up really hard as I'm trying to go for this last hit and punish me, so then I lose the trade really hard for that reason. So even though I had the initial little like prio in the lane and I was able to get the minion first and I'm in an okay spot there, the major issue with this lane so far is that I tried getting prio too early, when in this matchup it seems kind of like when I play into a Yasuo, I just have to give up prio. That's sort of what I've concluded from that matchup. Kind of the same here with Lux. I think I just mostly have to give up the prio at level 1 rather than trying to kind of fight so hard for it, because if I can keep the minion health more even, she at least has to choose between punishing me or going for the last hit. And so that's really the major issue. And again, wasting my first ability when I didn't need to. And then, yeah, so we can see kind of now that she gets prio, basically anytime she uses her spells, I end up trading a bit more aggressively. We saw her miss some spells there. I took my shield because I am pretty low, so I wanted to take shield level 2. Normally, I would obviously take second ability, but in this specific case, I ended up, taking the third ability. And then here I'm able to dodge a lot of her spells. I've dodged like 4 of her last 5 spells or something like that. And even with all of those dodges, I'm still not winning the lane. So we can kind of see, even if I try to outplay and dodge and play all of these things really well, I'll still generally lose the trades pretty hard if she even gets one decent trade on me. So basically it's just a very risky matchup to try to do too much. And you can see again, we're dodging pretty well a majority of her spells, and even then the trades aren't going super well. And you're going to see the other lane, we're going to dodge a lot less, and then we're just going to get punished much harder. So basically it seems like in a game where she does land a few amount of skills, or doesn't land very many skill shots rather, even in that lane I'm going to lose pretty hard. You can see again more missed skill shots, and I'm still going to not really be in a good spot for the lane, but I am going to be fine. Like I'm going to be, even health. It's going to be, everything's going to be okay. So basically from this first 2 minutes, my general plan, my general idea is I should give up prio a bit harder, let her push into me a bit more, mostly just walk up for last hits, and use the fact that she's going to try to punish me for walking up for last hits to trade with her. That way, even if I miss a minion, gold-wise, I'll still get the XP from it and the gold from being near it. And then I can at least get that trade to back her off a little bit and have a decent health, situation. And then after crashing the 3rd or 4th wave, I take a recall like I did here. And so then from onward, like here onwards, we can see I'm kind of walking up to trade just too aggressively here, I don't really know why I walk up so far. I'm down a level, the wave's pushing into me, and I started walking up like really aggressively here, trying to trade with her, which I don't really see like much use in this. Like walking up this far, I guess I was trying to dodge the spell, which we did dodge, so I guess that was the main reason for me doing that. But yeah, overall, like just kind of too far walking up, very risky, because again, if I do dodge like I did, again, we're dodging like a lot of spells in this lane matchup, I'm still not really winning the lane super hard. Like I'm just going even, it's fine, but it's so reliant on her missing a lot and me dodging a lot, which has happened here, And so even in that, you know, situation, I'm still not in like I'm in a fine spot right this lane phase. And this is the lane that goes better. Again, we're going to show you guys the lane that goes a lot worse after this. But yeah, so again, main conclusion, kind of have to just play for the early levels to be falling a bit behind, letting her kind of push into me so that the spells don't get landed as hard, you know, on me and everything like that. And then find that recall angle for mana boots. And then once we get the mana boots recall, we can kind of play like we're playing this lane now. As you can see me just kind of pushing in a pretty straightforward manner, poking her with QW when I can, taking recalls to spend gold. And everything here is pretty straightforward. Again, we're just skipping forward. Again, at this point, right, I think the lane pretty much is over. It's kind of, again, now just us clearing waves and then looking to possibly roam. She tries to, you know, surprise me here. And does end up hitting me. Kind of blows her ult for no reason, which I'm pretty fine with her ulting. I can just wave clear and then recall again. Or I had fruit in this case, so we got fruit. But yeah, that's really the main conclusion so far. And then here she roams for no reason, so I get a big gold lead. This was kind of this game. That's basically what happened is she ended up roaming a lot. And then I was easily able to punish her for roaming and get a lead, even though I didn't get a big lead in lane. But yeah, again, main conclusion here, need to take those proper recall timers on level 4, level, you know, usually like the 4th wave for mana boots. Need to be a bit more passive in the lane rather than walking up to try to trade and just skill check by dodging, because it's very low benefit for me. Even in a lane where I dodge most skill shots, I don't get much of a lead here. And then we're going to see again in a lane where I do get hit a lot more, that we end up getting punished very hard. So let's get into that lane phase then next. Okay, so this is the game after, same Lux player, and again, we'll kind of see how this lane, so once again, this lane I believe I trade really, really hard level 1 and then lose the trade pretty hard, because I tried to basically dodge her skill shots again, and I try to be pretty aggressive on the lane. As you can see, kind of didn't learn my lesson from the first game, kind of played it very similar, and yeah, we just end up losing the trade really hard. She has bone plating as well, which makes the trade even worse for me, which is something I didn't really take into account either, was her bone plating, and so bone plating means she wins the lane hard, or wins the trade really hard. Electrocute means she wins the trade really hard as well. Obviously, Electrocute going to be better than First Strike early trading. And I kind of just let her basically get me super low, and so that makes the lane initially really hard. And then at this point, I'm kind of forced to walk up for, you know, last hits and hope that I don't get hit. Obviously, we end up getting poked pretty hard here. And so definitely like main issue right with this lane is a very straightforward issue, but it is just the not paying attention to the runes and kind of trading too far and too hard. And then when we're looking at skill shots here, so I try to walk up here even though the minion's not low, and so I let her try to poke me even when the minion's not low. And so we can see here I don't really get a big benefit in terms of like anything, because the minion is not low enough for me to kill it. I could have let it come further, but instead I walk up trying to, you know, grab my ability on it early and to poke her even when I'm in a bad spot. And so like my goal here was land my first ability on her, poke her a bit. But again, the risk versus reward of this is just, it makes no sense. I don't have a wave I have to get to yet. Again, not in one-shot range, so the turret can hit it once and then I can get it and it'll be closer to me and I won't get hit by the skill shots. And again, I'm level 1 to level 2, which means she has more mana than me, or more AP than me rather. So she's stronger, she'll win the trades harder. And again, I'm lower health than her, so even if I take an even health trade with her, hypothetically, it's still losing for me because it puts me much closer to lethal range of getting one shot and dying compared to her. And that's where we lose the trade really hard here. And then I think I also don't take my shield here when I should take my shield. No, I do take my shield, but I think I still end up getting hit by one more skill shot and then just straight up dying. We can see here, we end up dying there. So another issue here is that I cleansed too early. I didn't wait for her to ignite before cleansing. So at this point, most of the issues before the lane are really what led me to me dying. But the real issue, you know, is also that I didn't cleanse. I didn't wait for the ignite. But yeah, main issues with this matchup basically are main like kind of mistakes I made. Again, like I said, not trading properly around runes into this matchup. Not respecting the fact that it's just a losing matchup. Like I tried too hard to try to win this matchup, to outplay. Shout out to my jungler for ganking, by the way. Thank you, jungler. But I made too many kind of decisions to try to outplay and juke spells, and I also walk up when there's no reason to walk up, like when there's, you know, no last hit for me to get, or there's no real benefit from it, that type of thing. And so that's the initial thing. Then I'm just going to talk to you guys for this last like 2 minutes just about how I sort of approach a lane once I have lost, because everyone's going to lose lanes no matter how good you are as a player. At this point, now that I know the lane's kind of losing, the main thing for me is just to try to get all of the minions, take relatively frequent recalls, and just kind of like stay in a more aggressive position to push the wave out basically, and to trade with her when she doesn't have her spells. But again here, like even then, this is just way too aggressive for me. Like after I'm pushing the wave and I crash it, I should just back off, right? Like, there's no real reason for me to continue to pressure her when, again, I'm half health, she's full health. I really don't know what I'm doing here. Like, it frankly doesn't make any sense. I'm just trying to bully this. Like, I'm getting way too aggressive. So again, I'm just not accepting that this matchup is losing, and I'm trying way too hard to kind of pressure in the matchup, even when I don't need to. And so it ends up to, you know, leading to me losing my flash. And again, luckily my jungler, I believe, comes and ganks again in a second. But yeah, basically when I'm in this type of like losing matchup, I don't need to be so aggressive, trying to kind of pressure, trying to just pressure for no reason. I can play a lot more around like jungle pathing. Like if my jungler does come here, obviously I can trade more aggressively, which ends up working out nice for us. Or I can just focus mainly on pushing the wave. So like pushing the wave aggressively when I'm already like, when I had that level diff, for example, and the wave was in a good spot. I'll go back to the situation I'm talking about. Obviously we ended up getting a nice play there. Oh, I kind of went too far. But basically the situation I'm talking about, we'll go back a little bit. I ended up kind of skipping in a weird spot here. But basically, yeah, we'll just start going back. So this situation I'm talking about is when I come back to lane, and I'm level 4 and she's level 3, like in a second here. This is a good time to be more aggressive with the wave because I have level 4, and I can use this to fully push the wave. So like what I could have done, be really aggressive to push this wave like I am, get it really quick, and then just take a recall or just start rotating until I need to come back to lane, instead of continuing to trade with her. Like the reasoning in my mind for trading was I have minion advantage, I have you know, even health. Obviously we're both full health and I'm up a level, so it would make sense for me to trade. But the reality is matchup is just hard losing when it comes to any trade, pretty much no matter what. So I'm still going to lose these trades. Even if I did get a bunch of autos, first ability, second ability, whatever, I'm always going to lose. So it doesn't make sense for me to trade even on a level diff most of the time in the Lux. It just makes sense for me to utilize the fact that I have prio to impact the lane elsewhere. So that's kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, the main conclusion I've come to. Stop trying to pressure and trade with Lux in general. Let her push into you. Only really walk up for last hits. If she tries to pressure you when you go for last hit, obviously 1, you're going to try to juke. But 2, you can just poke her back so she at least takes some amount of damage. And then she'll start pushing the wave into you. And then that's kind of going to be like the main thing I got to do. Find a recall on mana boots, come back to lane, get that mana boots. You know, once I get the mana boots or once I come back to lane, kind of like how I'm coming back to lane here. Push the wave really quickly, as you kind of see. Again, I don't have mana boots yet, but it's still very similar. Kind of sequence, push the wave out, and then start looking for more rotations. Usually this would be a wave later than I'd done it because I obviously died, so that's why I was recalled, kind of back in this position. But that's kind of the common position I'm going to be in. So that's really the main conclusion. Then I kind of get bailed out by jungle here, as we kind of saw right in this situation, and so we end up getting put in an okay spot thanks to jungle mostly with the ganks. But again, that's kind of the main thing. So approaching, like, once I do fall behind in the lane, just getting the wave pushed out and then not spending much time in the lane. And then again, you know, as we kind of spoke about already with how to play the lane. And then at this point, you know, you can see it's pretty straightforward. I'm just focusing on clearing the wave, getting lane prio, and then either recalling or rotating, depending on the situation. And then here I cover top lane since they're pressuring the turret really hard. So I just make sure to cover the wave. I got the wave here, go to mid, push the mid lane out, and then now in a position to rotate for the objective. So even here, you know, obviously lane didn't go well, but still end up in an okay position in last game as well. Even though lane didn't go super well and I didn't play the lane well, we still were all right. So we still did a lot of things to be in an okay position to play the later parts of the game. But you can kind of see that's how I'll sort of approach thinking about a lane phase. I'll think about how I wanted to approach the lane initially. Then I'll think about, you know, I'll watch the gameplay. I'll figure out how it actually went. Look at my mistakes, try to determine what the mistakes were, whether it was playing around rune cooldowns incorrectly, disrespecting the matchup, not playing around jungle, all those different types of things. And then whatever my conclusion is, then I'll try that out, obviously, next time I play against a Lux or a similarly hard matchup. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on my thought process when it comes to improving in this way. And I'll see you guys in the next video.